Lucas Reed guided his beat-up Honda through Maplewood Heights, his weathered face scanning house numbers against the delivery receipt 47 Elm Street read, in his careful handwriting. At 28, Lucas looked older than his years, dark hair, cropped military. Short despite 3 years out of service, his pizza delivery uniform hung loose on his lean frame, but his posture remained ramrod straight shoulders, back eyes alert. The suburban neighborhood was everything he'd hoped for when he moved here. Quiet, predictable, safe, the opposite of Kandahar and Fallujah, and a dozen other places he tried not to remember. As he pulled into the driveway, Lucas heard voices from the backyard, loud teenage laughter mixed with music before he could knock the door. Swung open, revealing a tall, blonde teenager in a varsity jacket. Derek Lawson, though Lucas didn't know his name yet, stood in the doorway with a smirk that immediately triggered instincts Lucas had spent years suppressing. Well, what do we have here?" Derek announced loudly. "Looks like Tony's finally hired some real talent. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed because tomorrow I've saved something extra, special for you." Lucas kept his expression neutral, extending the pizza boxes. 4780, 4780. Derek repeated mockingly, while 2 other teenagers appeared behind him, Travis and Jake both recording on their phones. Wow, such complex math. "I don't know if I can handle it." Derek made a show of digging through his pockets. "You know, pizza boy, I'm curious, do they actually train you guys, or just hand you a car and hope for the best?" "Sir, your total is 4780, Lucas repeated, his tone unchanged, though something cold was coiling in his stomach. Derek finally produced a crumpled 50, holding it just out of reach. "Tell you what, pizza boy, do something entertaining for your tip. Maybe dance or beg like a good delivery dog." The words hit Lucas like a physical blow, not because they hurt, but because of how easily they rolled off Derek's tongue. Like humiliating service workers was entertainment Lucas had faced, armed insurgents. But this teenager's casual cruelty felt more dangerous. Lucas set the pizzas down and straightened to his full height. "I'm not here to entertain anyone. The total is 4780. For a moment, Derek's smirk faltered as he sensed something beneath Lucas's calm exterior. Then his bravado returned. "Ooh, scary pizza man, getting tough." He handed over the 50, leaning close enough that Lucas could smell beer on his breath. "Keep the change. Consider it payment for the attitude adjustment you need." "Hey, pizza boy," Derek called. As Lucas turned to leave, "Better watch that temper. Never know when it might get you in trouble." Walking back to his car, Lucas kept his breathing steady, but his hands shook slightly. Not from fear, but from the effort of holding back everything he'd been trained to do. Derek had no idea how close he'd come to learning what trouble actually looked like. 3 days later, Derek was following him in his black BMW, making no effort to hide the pursuit. Lucas had avoided Elm Street, but Derek had brought the harassment to him, music blasting, as they tailed Lucas through his delivery route. At a red light, Derek pulled alongside, rolling down his window. "You know, pizza boy, I've been thinking about our conversation. I don't think you properly appreciated my generosity." Lucas stared straight ahead, but Derek continued. "Maybe you need an attitude adjustment. Maybe you need to learn gratitude for the people who keep you employed." The harassment continued through 3 more stops, Derek following close enough that their bumpers almost touched, turning Lucas's simple job into a humiliating parade through his own territory. At his next delivery, Derek pulled into the driveway behind him, blocking Lucas's exit. "Pizza delivery," Derek announced, stepping out. "Sorry, we're late. Traffic was terrible." The young mother at the door looked confused. "I already have my pizza." She gestured toward Lucas. Derek smiled charmingly. "Oh, that's my employee. He's new, still learning. I'm Derek Lawson. I handle quality control for Tony's Pizza." Lucas felt something dark expanding in his chest. The lies came so easily to Derek. "Actually, Mom, I'm your delivery driver. Derek isn't affiliated with Tony's." The woman took her pizza and closed the Dr. Firmly. Derek's smile faded. "Smooth move, pizza boy. Now she thinks I'm a liar." "You are a liar," Lucas replied, walking toward his car. But Derek stepped into his path. "See, that's your problem. No respect for authority. No understanding of your place." Lucas stood perfectly still, calculating angles, distances, the exact force needed to disable both teenagers before they could react. "Derek, move away from my car." Something in Lucas's tone made Derek pause, but instead of backing down, he doubled. "A down, or what, pizza boy, you gonna report me?" Lucas stepped around Derek and drove away, but in his rearview mirror he watched Derek kick gravel in frustration, clearly disappointed the confrontation hadn't escalated. Back at Tony's, Mia noticed immediately. "Oh, you look like you want to punch someone." "Bad delivery," Lucas said, but Mia wasn't buying it. "Same bad delivery as Monday, because you've had that expression every day this week." "Lucas, whatever's going on, you don't have to handle it alone." "But..." As Lucas drove toward his next delivery, he caught sight of the BMW again. Derek wasn't giving up, was escalating, and Lucas was running out of ways to avoid the confrontation. Derek seemed determined to provoke. Friday evening brought Derek's crew, positioned at Elm and Birch Streets, blocking Lucas's route to his next delivery. Derek, Travis, and two others stood around the BMW, passing a flask. Their laughter sharp with alcohol and adolescent cruelty. Lucas had no choice. The delivery was just. Past their position as his Honda approached, Derek stepped directly into the street, forcing him to stop. Well, if it isn't our favorite pizza boy," Derek announced, words slightly slurred. Lucas rolled down his window. "Derek, you're blocking traffic." Derek walked to the driver's side, leaning down until his face was inches from Lucas's. "You know I've been telling my friends about you, about how you're too good to talk to paying customers." Before Lucas could react, Derek reached through the window, grabbing the pizza boxes from the passenger seat. "I'm just inspecting the merchandise, making sure Tony's maintains quality standards." Lucas got out of the car. "Give me the pizzas, Derek." Derek opened the top box and tilted it, spilling a large pepperoni across the asphalt, cheese and sauce splattering, while the teenagers laughed. "Oops, Butterfingers," Derek said with mock innocence. Something snapped inside Lucas, not his control, but his willingness to pretend this was just teenage mischief. "That's enough. Or what, pizza boy?" Derek shoved Lucas hard in the chest. The physical contact changed everything. Lucas straightened his posture, shifting into something that would have been recognized in Fallujah. Derek was still talking, but Lucas was calculating height-weight, reached the positioning of friends, the sequence of movements that would end this in seconds. "You know what?" Derek said, reaching for the second box. "Maybe I should inspect this one too." Lucas moved faster than Derek. He could process stepping inside his reach and catching his wrist in a grip that stopped all movement. Derek's eyes widened as he realized he couldn't break free. "Drop the pizza," Lucas said quietly. Derek tried to pull away, but Lucas's grip was absolute. "Let go of me." "Drop the pizza," Lucas repeated, and Derek complied. Lucas released his wrist and stepped back, the confrontation lasting less than 5 seconds. But Derek stared at his arm where red marks were already forming. "What the hell, man? You can't just grab people." Lucas picked up the remaining boxes. "If you touch my deliveries again, if you interfere with my work, there will be consequences." Something in Lucas's tone made all 4 teenagers step back. "Is that a threat?" "It's a promise," Lucas said, getting back into his car. As he drove away, Derek kicked the spilled pizza while his friends questioned what they'd witnessed, the moment when the quiet delivery driver revealed something that didn't match his uniform. Monday morning, Lucas arrived at Tony's to find his car surrounded by teenagers wearing matching Customer Service Matters t-shirts. Derek had spent the weekend planning this escalation, "Surprise pizza boy. We're here for a customer service workshop," Derek announced as Lucas approached. They formed a loose circle, not quite blocking his path, but making movement require pushing through them. Travis recorded while Derek began a rehearsed speech. "We realized maybe we weren't clear about our expectations. As valued customers of Tony's Pizza, I need to get to work," Lucas said, "and we need to discuss standards. See, you put hands on me Friday, and that's assault, that's a crime." Derek was escalating beyond pranks into legal territory, threatening Lucas's job, his ability to stay under the radar. "What do you want, Derek? Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time. So if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I want an apology, a public apology for your unprofessional behavior. And if I don't, then I file a police report and call corporate. I bet they have policies about employees who assault customers." Lucas felt trapped. Derek had found his pressure points. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have grabbed your wrist." Derek cupped his ear. "I didn't hear that. Could you speak up?" "I apologize for the unprofessional contact. I'll be more careful." Derek beamed. "See, guys, I told you Pizza Boy would be reasonable." The teenagers cheered while Travis captured every humiliating moment inside. Tony was waiting, his face flushed with anger. What was that about? "Customers with complaints," Lucas said, but Tony wasn't buying it. "Customers don't show up in matching shirts demanding public apologies." "Lucas, what's really going on?" Mia appeared. "Tony, those kids have been harassing Lucas for weeks, following him, causing problems. And you didn't tell me why. I thought I could manage it." "Manage it how? By letting them humiliate you in my parking lot." Before Lucas could respond, Derek walked in alone, his shirt replaced by his varsity jacket. "Excuse me, I'm Derek Lawson. I wanted to apologize for the misunderstanding." Derek was masterful, presenting himself as a reasonable customer with legitimate grievances. "See, your employee Lucas grabbed me during a delivery, and I wanted to make sure there were no hard feelings." Tony's expression changed as Derek's story took hold. Is this true, Lucas? Lucas felt his carefully constructed life slipping away. "It's more complicated." "I don't want trouble," Derek continued. "Just think, maybe Lucas needs customer service training, help him understand boundaries." Tony was nodding, seeing Derek as mature and reasonable. "I appreciate you coming in, Derek, and I apologize for any inappropriate behavior." Derek extended his hand toward Lucas. "No hard feelings, right? Pizza boy?" The handshake was a test, Lucas realized, taking Derek's hand and noting how soft it was. Derek squeezed hard, trying to reassert dominance, but Lucas's expression never changed, his hand like steel. After Derek left, Tony turned to Lucas. "I can't have employees getting physical with customers, no matter what they do. I want you to avoid that kid. If he orders, I'll send someone else." Lucas understood, but Derek's victory felt like poison. The teenager had weaponized the system used. Lucas's restraint against him while continuing his harassment campaign. That evening, Lucas sat staring at job search websites. He could run, find another quiet place to disappear, or he could stop running, stop pretending his past was buried, and remind Derek what real consequences looked like. Tuesday evening, Derek walked into Tony's during dinner rush, flanked by Travis and two girls. The restaurant busy with families, creating a cozy community atmosphere that Derek immediately poisoned with his presence. "Well, hello, Pizza Boy. Fancy meeting you here," Derek said loudly, approaching the counter where Lucas worked alongside Mia. "Welcome to Tony's. What can I get you?" Lucas replied professionally. "Oh, I think you know what I want. The same excellent and customer service you gave me last week." Derek was performing for the restaurant audience, speaking loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Actually, I'm more interested in quality control. See, I ordered last week and there was a problem." Lucas could see Tony emerging from the kitchen, drawn by Derek's theatrical voice. "Derek, if you have a complaint, speak to my manager. I prefer dealing directly with the source. See, your customer service skills need work." An elderly customer called out, "Hey, kid, keep it down. We're trying to eat." Derek turned with his widest smile. "Sorry, sir, just resolving a customer service issue with this establishment's delivery driver." Derek pulled out his phone, showing Tony edited footage from their previous encounters. "See, I recorded our conversation about Lucas's inappropriate behavior. Maybe other customers should know what service to expect." The word assault rippled through the restaurant customers, pulling out phones to record. Lucas could see his quiet life dissolving Derek, turning him into viral video content. "Derek, you're lying and you know it," Lucas said, his voice carrying an edge that made the teenager's smile falter. "Lying about what? About you putting hands on me, about being unprofessional, about thinking you're better than customers." Lucas stepped around the counter, moving closer, the familiar calculation running Derek's height, weight, the sequence that would end this permanently. "Back up, pizza boy. You're making me uncomfortable. Good, because you've been making me uncomfortable for weeks." Derek stepped closer, bringing them within reach. "See, you think because you work here you have authority, but you're just a delivery driver, just a nobody in uniform." Lucas felt something snap, not his control, but his willingness to continue the charade. "You're right, Derek, I am just a pizza delivery driver, just a nobody in uniform." Derek sensed victory, finally some honesty. "But here's what you don't understand, some nobodies are more dangerous than you could imagine." Something in Lucas's tone made Derek step backward, his bravado cracking. "Is that a threat?" "It's education about the difference between playing tough and actually being tough." Derek looked around, seeking support, but the mood had shifted. Customers seeing predator and prey rather than customer complaint. "You can't talk to customers like that." "You're not a customer, Derek. Customers don't spend weeks harassing employees for entertainment." Derek bumped into the door, his friends following. "This isn't over, pizza boy." "Yes, it is, and if you're smart, you'll make sure it stays over." As Derek's group disappeared, the restaurant applauded Lucas's stand, but he felt no triumph, only weariness at crossing a line. Derek would escalate now, and Lucas would face the choice he'd been avoiding. The call came at 11:47 p.m. Mia's voice tight with worry. "Lucas, Derek and his friends are at the shop, vandalizing Tony's car, asking for you. I called police, but it could be 20 minutes. Lucas was already pulling on clothes. "How many?" 6 or 7. They're drunk and angry. Tony's coming." "But Lucas, what are you going to do?" "I'm going to end this." The drive took 8 minutes, Lucas arriving to find Derek's BMW blocking the entrance. 6 teenagers surrounding Tony's pickup, Derek standing on the hood with a baseball bat, while friends cheered him on. Broken glass scattered where they'd smashed headlights. "Well, look who showed up," Derek called, jumping down. "Pizza boy comes to save the day." Lucas walked toward them, counting targets, calculating distances, noting weapons. Derek, walk away. Walk away from teaching you what happens when you disrespect your betters. Travis appeared with a crowbar. "There's only one of him, Derek. Last chance, Derek. You and your friends leave now, and we pretend this never happened. Or what you gonna call? Cops cry to mommy." Lucas felt the shift inside him, the last vestige of his peaceful identity dissolving. "Or I stop pretending to be something I'm not." The change was subtle but unmistakable. His posture shifted, hands moving to ready position, eyes tracking targets. Derek's friends sensed it first. They're joking, dying as instinct warned them. Numbers might not matter. "It means, Derek, that you've been bullying someone who could kill all of you before you could swing that bat." Derek raised the SEAL weapon. "You're crazy." "No, I'm a Navy SEAL, or I was until I decided I wanted quiet life delivering pizza, but you couldn't let me have that." The revelation hit like physical blow, several stepping backward, realizing they'd been tormenting trained. "Oh, killer, you're lying." 3 tours, Afghanistan, special operations, the kind of training they don't advertise. Derek swung wildly, But Lucas wasn't there, moving with speed that seemed to violate physics. Derek's swing met air, while Lucas appeared, at his side, catching the bat, finding Derek's throat with surgical precision. "Let me teach you about respect," Lucas said as Derek struggled. "Respect isn't demanded, Derek, it's earned." Lucas applied just enough pressure to make Derek's vision blur, demonstrating absolute control. Derek's eyes widened, realizing he was helpless. "Please!" Derek gasped. Lucas released him, letting Derek collapse. Gasping, the others frozen, uncertain whether to run or help. Anybody else want to learn about respect? They scattered like leaves, leaving Derek alone on his knees. Lucas stood over him, waiting. "You could have killed me." "Yes, but I didn't, because despite everything you've done, I'm not the monster you wanted me to be." Derek struggled to his feet, pale with shock. "This isn't over." Lucas grabbed Derek's shirt, pulling him close. "Derek, if you ever come near me again, if you threaten my friends or workplace, I will forget I'm trying to be a better man." Derek nodded frantically. "And Derek, if you're thinking about calling police, remember you brought weapons to commit vandalism while I defended myself and property." Derek stumbled to his BMW, hands shaking as he drove away. Lucas surveying damage to Tony's truck, broken glass and dents. That would cost hundreds. But as adrenaline faded, Lucas felt only sadness at what he'd been forced to become. Derek's harassment had awakened something he'd spent years burying, and now there was no going back. Officer Daniels arrived with backup. Lights flashing, sirens off the professional courtesy of cops who knew aftermath from active crisis. Lucas Mia called said confrontation with those problem kids. Lucas stood beside Tony's vandalized truck, hands, visible posture, non-threatening. Derek Lawson and friends vandalized Tony's vehicle. I intervened. Officer Daniels played flashlight across damage, noting smashed lights, dented hood, deep scratches. "Where are they now?" "They left. Derek drove off about 10 minutes ago." "Anybody?" Derek learned vandalism has consequences," Officer Daniels read between lines, seeing scattered weapons, military bearing despite pizza uniform. "Lucas, what exactly happened?" Tony arrived, face flushed, surveying damage. "Those little bastards! Look what they did!" Officer Daniels needed full story-watching security footage that clearly showed Derek's group vandalizing with weapons, Lucas defending with minimal force. "Well, this is cut and dried. Derek committed criminal mischief with weapons you defended, yourself and property." But Lucas saw complications forming. Derek's family had resources, would claim excessive force, turn this into media circus. What happens now? "Now I arrest Derek Lawson for vandalism, assault with weapons. As for you, Lucas, you're free to go." But Lucas knew this wasn't over. Derek's family would fight, would try making him the villain. 3 weeks later, Derek pled guilty, his lawyers negotiating community service rather than jail. But legal victory felt hollow as Lucas sat reading his resignation letter. "You don't have to do this," Tony said. "Derek's gone, moved to private school. Parents paid damages." "Tony, it's not about Derek. It's about what I became that night, what I let myself become." "You became someone who stood up, protected my business. I became someone who threatened a teenager's life. I saw fear in Derek's eyes, and part of me enjoyed it." The admission hung between them. Tony understanding that beneath the gratitude lay recognition of what Lucas really was. "So what will you do?" "I can't keep pretending to be someone I'm not." Sarah Chen, from the Maple Street Community Center, found Lucas at Tony's the day he submitted his resignation. "Mr. Reed, I run the community center. I was wondering about an opportunity." "What kind?" "The kind that uses your particular skills constructively. I understand you have military training in self-defense." Sarah explained the center served diverse population, including immigrants, single mothers, teenagers. From troubled homes, many dealing with harassment, bullying, worse. We need self-defense instructor, someone with real training who understands both physical and psychological aspects of protection. Lucas felt something stir purpose he hadn't experienced. Since military, what exactly are you asking? Teach people to protect themselves, give them confidence and skills to stand up to bullies. The irony wasn't lost. Derek's harassment had forced Lucas to confront his capacity for violence, but Sarah offered channeling that training into something positive. I don't have teaching experience, but you understand what it's like to be targeted, to feel powerless, and you know how to turn that around. When would you want me to start? Tonight we have women who've been waiting weeks. That evening, Lucas faced 12 women ages 16 to 60 from different backgrounds, but sharing the look of people made to feel small. My name is Lucas Reed, and I'm here because, like many of you, I know what it's like to be bullied, to feel powerless. He told them about Derek, not the violence, but the erosion of dignity, the way harassment made someone doubt their worth. Bullies have power only because we give it to them. They rely on our fear, our reluctance to fight back. Among his students was Maria Santos, dealing with workplace harassment, and Jennifer Walsh, whose ex-husband was escalating threats. Lucas watched their confidence grow with each technique. Week after week, his students transformed, not just physically but emotionally, standing straighter, speaking louder, taking up space with new confidence. "You're good at this," Sarah observed. "Students trust you." Strange. I spent military career learning to hurt people. Now I'm using that knowledge to help them protect themselves. Maybe that was always the point. Maybe your training was preparation. As reputation grew, Lucas received requests for specialized classes, teenagers dealing with bullies, elderly concerned about crime even, veterans struggling with civilian transition. The community center became his new battlefield. But instead of fighting enemies, he fought fear. Instead of taking lives, he gave people power to live without terror. 6 months later, the basement gymnasium felt like a dojo, mirrors lining walls, heavy bags hanging from ceiling, thick mats creating safe space where people learned to be dangerous when necessary. His Tuesday women's class had grown from 12 to 35. Maria Santos, now his assistant, instructor confidence blooming as she helped newer students. Remember, the goal isn't winning fights, it's creating opportunity to escape to safety. Jennifer Walsh demonstrated perfectly, movements sharp and decisive, far from the frightened woman who'd first entered Lucas's class. Her ex-husband backing off after she'd used voice projection to shut down intimidation. Confidence is first line of defense. Predators look for easy targets, people who seem vulnerable, afraid. Among newer students was Amy Chen, high school senior, dealing with persistent harassment from boys who thought her quiet demeanor made her easy target. "They corner me after school, don't touch but say things, follow me to car." Lucas worked on situational awareness and assertiveness, Amy's voice growing stronger until she could deliver firm, "Leave me alone," with real authority. Thursday brought teenagers, including Kevin Martinez, freshman, targeted for small size and academic achievements. "They think because I'm smart, I must be weak, take lunch money, steal homework, teachers act like boys being boys." Lucas taught Kevin projection, helping him understand confidence came from knowledge and preparation. Kevin would never be physically intimidating, but could carry himself like someone who wouldn't be easy victim. "Remember, Kevin, you're not trying to start fights, you're preventing them. Bullies want easy victims, confident people aren't easy." The irony wasn't lost that Derek's harassment had led to this basement where dozens learned skills to handle their own bullies. Derek intended to break Lucas, but created something protecting people for years. Lucas's phone buzzed with text from Maria asking about coffee. Her English dramatically improved as confidence grew. She'd been promoted after demanding better treatment from supervisors. As Lucas locked up, reflecting on transformation, 6 months ago, he'd been hiding from past, now embracing everything his training taught, using it to empower, rather than harm. The Navy SEAL would always be part of him. But now, Lucas understood his skills were tools that could build up as well as tear down. Derek had awakened something that couldn't be put back to sleep, but that awakening led to purpose and service. 1 year later, the self-defense program had become model for other communities. Officer Daniels brought visiting law enforcement to observe, while Sarah fielded calls from centers across state. Lucas was finishing advanced class when Sarah appeared. With expression he couldn't read, mixture of surprise and concern. "Lucas, there's someone to see you, someone you might remember." In the lobby sat Courtney Williams, Derek's former girlfriend, blonde hair, shorter clothes, more mature. But Lucas recognized her immediately. "Mr. Reed, thank you for seeing me. What can I do for you?" "Courtney, I wanted to apologize for what Derek did, what we all did. We were horrible. Thank you for saying that. There's more. I'm freshman at community college, having problems with guy who won't leave me alone. Follows around campus, makes comments. I'm scared." Lucas felt familiar anger. Derek's former girlfriend asking help from man they'd tormented. But looking at Courtney, he saw not privileged teenager, but young woman, genuinely frightened. "Tell me about these incidents," Courtney described escalating harassment. Lucas recognized immediately the same progression Derek had used. "Are you asking me to help you? I know I have no right after what Derek did, but I heard about your classes, thought maybe..." Lucas could refuse, could point out hypocrisy, but Courtney was genuinely frightened, and he'd never turned away someone needing help. "I can teach you techniques, but first you need to understand this isn't just self-defense, it's changing how you see yourself." "I understand. Do you?" Because the Courtney I remember stood by while Derek bullied me, laughed at his jokes. Courtney flushed with shame. "You're right. I was awful worried about fitting in, being popular, that I went along with things I knew were wrong. And now I'm learning popularity doesn't matter when you're afraid to walk campus, when you're scared because someone might be waiting." Lucas saw recognition in her eyes, the moment when someone realizes predators exist and no one else is responsible for protection. "All right, but we do this my way, complete program, no shortcuts." Over following weeks, Courtney attended classes, learning quickly, absorbing not just physical techniques, but mental shift from victim to survivor. He backed off. Courtney reported after 3 weeks, used voice projection when he cornered me in library, told him loudly to leave me alone. Whole place went quiet. He walked away. This was the goal, not creating fighters, but eliminating victim mentality. Predators relied upon. Courtney became dedicated student, often staying after to practice volunteering with outreach, helping spread word about classes. "I want to help others the way you help me. I know what it's like to feel powerless." The final test came during annual demonstration when Courtney volunteered to show responses to harassment. This is Courtney. 6 months ago, she was being stalked by a classmate who thought her silence meant consent. He was wrong, and I'm here to show you what changed. After demonstration, Courtney approached with determination. Lucas recognized, "Mr. Reed, I want to be like you. Help people who are bullied, afraid, teach them what you taught me." It's not easy work, means dealing with people at most vulnerable, helping them find strength. I know, but I also know what it's like to enable bullies because it seems easier. Maybe that experience gives me something to offer. 6 months later, Lucas watched Courtney lead her first official class. Confidence starts with posture. Predators look for people who seem afraid, unaware. Lucas felt deep satisfaction watching former tormentor's girlfriend teaching protection. Derek's harassment had set motion chain of events rippling outward, touching lives he'd never know. Courtney had completed instructor certification. Her experience with both sides of bullying, giving insights that complemented Lucas's training. Together, they'd created program addressing not just physical but psychological transformation from victim to protector. How did it feel? Lucas asked as her class ended. Incredible seeing those women gain confidence, stand straighter. It's like watching people come alive. That's the real victory, not techniques, but watching someone discover their strength. That evening, as Lucas locked up, he reflected on the year Derek's bullying had seemed like end of everything. Instead, it became catalyst for something meaningful. Lucas had discovered his calling, found way to serve rather than harm, built community committed to protection. The irony that Derek's girlfriend became dedicated student represented second chances, possibility of growth, even for those who'd made terrible choices. As Lucas drove through familiar streets, he thought about Derek, wondering if the young man had learned from their confrontation, found his own path to becoming better than the bully he'd been. But regardless of Derek's journey, the center's work would continue. Every person who learned to stand up was victory against bullies. Every act of courage inspired others to find strength. The quiet delivery driver who'd hidden from past was gone, replaced by someone who embraced history and future, who understood true strength came not from ability to harm, but willingness to help others protect themselves. Derek Lawson had tried to break Lucas Reed, but instead created something unbreakable. A man who knew exactly who he was and what he was meant to do, and that transformation felt like the greatest victory of all. Up next, we have 2 more incredible stories that are waiting for you. Just click the image you want to watch, and it will take you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot.